good news is Putin's war has failed, but we cannot let up. The world now has another choice to make. Will we sustain our support to help Ukraine win this war and preserve its freedom, or walk away and let aggression be renewed and a nation be destroyed? I know my answer. We cannot grow weary.
OK, Bloomberg's EMEA News Director Rosalind Mathieson joins us for the latest on what we've been hearing from Joe Biden and what it means for the conflict in Ukraine. Ros, what do we know about... There was the rhetoric from Biden again, not unexpected, of course, reiterating that support for Ukraine. The question is, how material is that support? Is he able to back up the rhetoric with real and consequential support for Ukraine as we head up to that election in November?
Well, that's right. We're only weeks away now from the US election, and so come the start of next year, either way, there'll be a new president in the White House. And so the question of support for Ukraine and how that continues is really up in the air. And you can see that in the Ukrainian president's, when he's there this week, the comments he's making. And we're hearing that, the US and some other allies are starting to push him towards negotiating. So what exactly can Joe Biden promise and do in the remaining months, aside from urging people to remain resolute? We are hearing he may be able to squeeze another $5 billion in military aid for Ukraine. That's probably the last lot of it that may come under his presidency, but this is under the presidential drawdown authority. They might be able to extend that to weapons that have been contracted by the US military but not yet delivered. They can divert those, it's a bit complicated, to Ukraine and then replenish their own stock. So it's slightly tricky, but he might be able to wrangle another $5 billion for Ukraine. But the question is, after that, what else is going to come? Yeah,
and particularly in the context of Europe facing the challenges as well around providing that support. Zelensky's going to be speaking as well himself. He's been on the ground in the US. What do we expect to hear from the Ukrainian president? Anything that we can foresee that may move the dial from Zelensky?
We're going to hear a lot of talk about needing to stay the course, again, coming into yet another winter for Ukraine. We know he's been holding meetings on the sidelines of UNGA, which are about, the energy needs of Ukraine, because we know Russia has a pattern of heavy bombardment during winter to degrade things like electricity and energy supply. So that's a real question for Ukraine. But he's going around talking about how he's going to present his victory plan. He calls it a victory plan. We don't know a lot of what's in it, but it sounds like it's very similar to what he's been saying previously, primarily that he really still thinks that Ukraine needs to become a member of NATO, and pushing that. We know that's not getting masses of traction for an immediate sort of decision on a NATO membership. So what exactly tangibly is he going to put on the table? What we're probably going to get the other way in the corridors of UNGA this week is some countries starting to say quietly to him, at what point are you going to sit down and negotiate with Vladimir Putin?